श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः हरि ओम ओम सच्चिदानंद रूपाय कृष्णाय क्लिष्टकारिणे नमो वेदांत वेद्याय गुरवे बुद्धिसाक्षिणे. So we were seeing nanu katham eko devah jeevarayoho vedat. How can you say there is only one God, one self? Why? Because there is my individual self and the Ishvara. There is duality, right? Don't say that. Vedanti says, Bhagavan Bhashikara says, no, don't say that. Why? Shruti says, Tat srishtva tadeva anupravishat. After creating, it itself entered that creation. Sa esha iha pravishtaha anakha grebhya. This self entered from the toenail to the tuft. Okay. Ityadi Shutibhya Avikratasya Parasya. This text says that the unchanging, non-transformed self is what has entered the thought and the intellect. Okay, very good. Now, we saw this. Now, here we have to understand the Srishtva. What does Pravesha means? Entering. Okay. Pravesha does not mean really entering something. We are not talking about the self after creating it entered. Okay, we'll discuss this in detail, but first we'll understand what entering means. Pravesha means. It means that whatever is the creation, ignorance creation, avidya karya, ignorance creation. All that ignorance creation, this gains the identification of I and mine. The identification of I and mine in the creation of ignorance is what is called as pravesha, not really entering. Okay, that is now clear. Now, here, atraidam chintya. There is a discussion. That is why I said we'll see this discussion later. Now we'll see this discussion. We saw how the creation and the created cannot be different in the introduction itself. He gave a brief introduction to that. Where will the creator bring the materials for creation, etc.? We saw all that. Okay, we are not getting into that. Now here he is bringing a discussion. Normally in the Vedanta, in any text, in the scriptures, in any of these texts, we will see a discussion. There is question, there is answer. Okay, question is called as Purva Paksha. The one who questions is called as Purva Pakshi. Okay, answer is called as Siddhanta Paksha. The one who answers is called as Siddhanta Pakshi. Purva Pakshi and Siddhanta Pakshi. Purva Pakshi the opponent and Siddhanta Pakshi the answer. This is what is the normal way. Now let us understand it in a simple way. The Purva Pakshi, the opponent, is the disciple. The disciple is asking and the Siddhanta Pakshi is the guru. Okay. So now disciple asks and guru answers. This is the normal way. But that is not normal. Is it normal? No. The disciple asks. Before the guru answers, there are people who interrupt and say, no, that is not how it is. Is it not, Guruji? They will interrupt and they will answer the other disciple. One disciple answers the other disciple instead of the guru, taking the position of guru. Okay? Not being guru, taking the position of guru. That is called as Ekadeshi. He thinks he is supporting the guru's idea, but he does not know what guru's idea is. That is called a Siddhanta Ekadeshi. Okay? So we have disciple and interrupter and guru. Okay? This is what we have to remember. Okay. Now, the disciple asks, This Paramatma, you said, who is the creator, is he entering in his own inherent nature or after transforming himself? Does he enter in his inherent nature or in a transformation? Like you see, the king goes to check his kingdom. What is the situation of the kingdom? Instead of getting the information second hand through the people, he wants to see it real time. So he goes. He does not go as a king. If he goes as a king, people will not give him the real answer. So he disguises himself, right? So that is what the disciple wants to know. Does the self goes as it is, or does it disguise itself? So Guru said, in between that interrupter, he says, no, 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 no. Did you not hear properly? That srishtva tadedanu pravishat. It created and it itself went inside. There, the srishtva, there is a suffix there. Twa, we call it. The Sanskrit suffix is twa. Ktva. Ktwa. Okay? Ktwa. Now, ktva, this suffix is used in only one instance. It is called as, the sutra says, samana kartrukayoho purvakale ktva. If the doer is same, whatever action he did previously, they will all have this ktva suffix. Okay, like after eating, he goes. To say that, I will say bhuktva gacchati. Ktva gacchati. Bhuktva. After eating, he goes. Okay, bhuktva gacchati. After taking bath, after eating, he goes. Snatva bhuktva gacchati. Snatva tva bhuktva gacchati. After taking bath, after taking food, he goes. Meaning, the one who took bath is the one who took the food, is the one who is going. Okay. So, in all the previous actions, we will add this tva suffix. Now, srishtva, tva suffix you have, and entered. So, this self, he created and he himself entered in that creation. Who? The interpreter says. Now, for that, the disciple says, don't speak rubbish. Why? See, the clay cannot enter the pot. The clay, which is the material cause, cannot enter the pot. You cannot say the clay entered the pot. If the doer, think this, if the doer and the done, they are same, then what is the doer and done difference? So, he says, no, 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 you have to understand. This clay, the disciple says, the clay took the form of the pot, transformed itself into pot. After transforming, the clay entered it. Can you say that? The clay transformed itself into pot and the clay entered the pot. This is rubbish. It can never happen like that. Similarly, here also, the one which took the form of the body sense organ complex, that creator entered that body sense organ complex. How can that be possible? No, 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 no. I'll say. The interpreter again. Ekadeshi. He says, no, no, in a different form, in a disguise. Okay. Like you have clay transforms itself into pot, but still, after, if you have seen the potter making the pot, they'll sprinkle some dust, clay dust on it to make it proper. If there is water somewhere, they'll spray clay dust. The same clay in a different form. Clay transformed into a pot and the clay is sprinkled on it. So similarly, this self transformed into the body sense organ complex and itself entered. There's no problem. No, that is also not in the form of Ishvara or Jiva, whichever it entered. If you say that also is not possible, the disciple says, you idiot, that is also not possible. Why? Because we are talking about non-dual, Advaita. And you are bringing a Ishvara, Jiva, all this duality. So that is not possible. And even if we, okay, let me say, I accept what you said. Still, entering is impossible because for entering, there should be a space for it to enter. There should be a space for that self to enter. And we have already very clearly said that the self is existent in everywhere already, omnipresent. Therefore, where can it enter? There is no place where there is absence of a place which is devoid of self. So, where can the self enter? Okay. The same interpreter, he says, it entered in itself. If I say like that, okay. Now we are bringing this defect called kartru karma virodha. I am the creator and I am entering myself. The self enters itself. That is a stupidity. And it is not just logically stupid, it is also scripturally stupid, because the scripture says, Tad srishtva tad eva anupravishyat. Whatever is created, this self entered that creation. It didn't say it entered itself, it entered the creation. So your stupid logic won't work here. Okay. See, first it creates the body. Then, in the form of another transformation as Jiva, etc., it enters. That transformation is called what is called as entering. This also is stupid, because the clay transformed into itself into the pot, and the clay transformed itself into the from the pot into body something. How can that be possible? Clay transformed into pot, over. Whether it is pot or plate, that's all. It cannot transform itself into pot and again transform itself into something else. Clay transformed into pot or clay transformed into plate, over. So, double transformation is impossible for the same thing. Okay. Now I understood. What? I'll give you an example. Like the sun and the reflection. This example we use for Vedanta, but he is using the interpreter. He didn't understand, grasp the Vedanta properly. So he is interpreting in a different way. Which is like the sun and the reflection. We say, see the sun in the water, not on the water, in the water. It has entered inside. In means it has entered inside. The sun has entered inside the water. That is why he says sun in the water. Similarly, here also, very good. But the problem is, the disciple says, the problem is, sun is a far off, different, limited, and has a form. Simple. Let us keep it simple. Sun is limited and has a form. Okay. And the water is different from the sun, where the reflection takes place. Now, the self is unlimited. The self does not have form. And there is no reflecting media for the self to get reflected. Therefore, this stupidity also is impossible. Okay. So, okay, let Guruji say answer. So the Guruji says, okay, let me answer now. Though we accept the sun and the reflection example, there is a difference in what the Vedanti says and what this interpreter understood. What is the difference? The difference is, first, like we accept the creation, in the similar way, we accept the entering also. What does that mean? Do we accept the creation to be real? No. It is a creation which the self, by using the Maya, by using the power of Maya, illusion, it projected. There is no real creation. We don't accept the creation to be real, existent. We accept it to be illusion, non-real. It's like the creation is non-real, the entering also is non-real. To say it clearly, since you accept the existence to be real, the Shruti also accepts, seemingly accepts, in the sense like we have this extras in the games, okay, not extras who are sitting on the sides. Like we have younger brother or younger sister, and there are the boys who are playing game, and you are part of the game, but your brother is not, because he is not capable of playing it. But your mother insists you take him, play with him. Now if you don't allow him to play, he won't allow you to play. So you will convince your friends saying, okay, let him be. We do that, right? So that is upachara. He is in the game, but in reality he is not in the game also. We make him believe that he is part of the game. That is the game actually. Similarly here, we accept your reality, and accepting your reality, we are answering it. Why do we have to say that? You just have to say that is non-real. Then you will not listen to the solution, because you don't understand my problem. How will you answer? How will the answer be proper? So we say, oh, we understand your problem. Then we, by reiterating his problem, we are giving the solution. Because in Vedanta, there is this logic called Mrid Ghata Nyaya. Simple, to put it simply, we call it Mrid Ghata Nyaya, logic of clay and pot. In a Vedantic way, if you want to say, we have to say Karya Karana Ananyatva Nyaya. Karya, effect, Karana, cause, Ananya, non-different, Nyaya, logic. The logic of cause and effect, non-different. If cause and effect are non-different, how can you say cause and effect? Because they are non-different. There is only cause. No. It came out wrongly. Karana Karya Ananyatva, the logic, the interpretation for the logic is that, but the real meaning for that logic is a Karana Vyatirekena Karyam Nasti. This is Karya Karana Ananyatva Nyaya, Mrit Gata Nyaya, clay pot logic. It means Karana Vyatirekena, apart from the cause, Karyam Nasti, there is no effect. There is no real effect apart from the cause. The clay transformed into the pot, clay is seen in the form of pot, but in reality it is clay. There is a different form, that's all, but it's clay. Like you see different ornaments, they are basically gold. Like that, all these different pot, plate, etc., they are all clay, nothing but clay. Apart from clay, they don't have any existence. Similarly, apart from the self, there is no real existence of the creation. That is what is called as Karya Karana Ananyatva Nyaya. Karya Karana Ananyatva Nyaya. Effect, cause, non-different logic. Which means the effect is not different from the cause. Effect has no independent existence other than the cause. Okay. Now, because the Shruti establishes the Panchakosha, etc., and it establishes the entering, etc. So, in reality, like, okay, we'll a man built a house, then he entered the house. Similarly, this self created this, seemingly this creation, and it entered seemingly, not real. The creation also is seeming creation. The entering also is seeming entering. Therefore, there is no reality. This is what we call as upachara. The creation is upachara. The pravesha is also for upachara, for namesake. Upachara means namesake, like the extra brother who is in the game. Okay. Now, pravishtanam itra bhedat paramatma ekatvam katham iti chet. What do you say? The self which entered in you is different from the self which entered in me. I am not you, you are not me, because I am doing different action and you are doing different actions. How can this self be one, non-dual? For that we say no. Because the Shruti says, Eko deva bahudha nimishtaha, ekassan bahudha vichara, tvam ekosi bahun anupravishtaha, iti ekasya bahudha pravesha shravanat, pravishtanam parasya cha na vedaha. That the self which entered and the self, the one who entered and the self are not different. Itaretra bheda means anyonya abhava. Anyonya abhava means the absence of one in other. We don't accept any kind of absence. So leave alone the absence of one in the other. It's completely unacceptable. So the Shruti says, Eko devaha, one devaha, swaprakasha, the self-effulgent one, the self-effulgent, bahuda nivishtaha is seen in plural forms. Yekaha san bahudha vichachara, being one, he travel in different forms. Simply put, though he travels in different forms, he is one. Bahuda vichachara san eko asi. Tum eko asi bahun anupravishtaha. Entering in multiple, you are one. Though you seem to have entered in multiple objects, things, you are one. That is the idea of the Shrutis. Okay. Now, therefore, we have two problems here. Like the rope is seen as snake, etc. There are two problems with the idea that itra bheda, the entered and the self are different. One error is a error of logic. Another error is error which is against the Shruti, the scriptures. Okay, error of scriptures and error of logic. Error of scriptures, we have seen 3 scriptures. Error of logic, like one rope is seen in multiple forms. Rope is seen as snake, right? You see a snake. Sometimes the rope is seen as a stick. It's not a rope, it's stick. No, it is not a stick or rope. It is a water flow. Someone threw some water there. No. It is neither stick nor water flow nor snake. It is a gap in the ground. This is a break in the ground. There is a gap in the ground. There is a small pit. That is what is seen as. So you see rope as multiple things. A stick, a snake, a water flow, or a gap. So all these different superimposed forms are nothing but this rope itself. Similar. This is meaning though the reflection is multiple, plural, the reflected is one. You stand in front of multiple mirrors. There is one reflection here, one here. Though there may be multiple reflections of the same form, you are one. Similarly, here also, though the self is one, the reflected, the pravishta, the one who entered, that is seen as multiple. That's all. Okay. Then, Hiranyagarbha, to establish, reiterate that he says, Hiranyagarbha iti ashtau mantraha kasmai devaya ityatra ekara lopena eka devatva pratipadakaha taitrike. And the Shruti itself uses A very beautiful logic. See, Hiranyagarbha ityashto mantra, the 8 mantras beginning with Hiranyagarbha. Kasmai Devaya ityatra. And in Kasmai Devaya, in the portion Kasmai Devaya, the Kasmai Devaya has a. Ekara means a. Lopa means it is elided. Ekasmai, instead of ekasmai, the Shruti says kasmai. That is Chandasa Prayoga, we call it. Vedic usage. You cannot question it. So, there, the Shruti very clearly, ekasmai devaya, to that one God, one self, devaya, the one self-effulgent self, very clearly it establishes. This is said in Taittiriya Samhita. Actually, this is a Rigvedic mantra. It says, Hiranyagarbha samartatagre bhutasya jatah patireka aset dadhara prithvim dyam uta imam kasmai devaya havisha vithema. Like that the mantra goes. Okay. This is the 8 mantras are called as Hiranyagarbha Sukta. There are different suktas, set of compositions which are sung for different gods. Purusha Sukta for Vishnu, etc. They chant Purusha Sukta. Shri Sukta for goddess, Shri Sukta, Medha Sukta, Durga Sukta. Like that, there is Hiranyagarbha Sukta. Hiranyagarbha Sukta is for the Prajapati, the creator. The Sukta, Hiranyagarbha is the creator. The Sukta, the praising, the songs for the creator. So there he says, Hiranyagarbha Samavartatagre. Hiranyagarbha, he was created at the beginning. This Hiranyagarbha, this Prajapati, the creator, he was created at the beginning. And Bhut Jatah Patireka Asit, and he is the Lord for all the beings. Sadadhara Prithvim, he created this Prithvi, etc. And all these different elements. Kasmai Devaya Havisha Videma. Simply taking it, Kasmai, Kasya, Kasmai becomes a for which deity will be present the Havish, the oblation material. Vidhema means to present, to worship. Which deity will be worshipped using the oblation material? That is what is the interpretation normally. This is what the dualists want to interpret it as. Why? Because they want to use the oblation material to this Hiranyagarbha, etc., the creator, because they want to protect the creation and the creator. They want to protect the creation because they want to protect the creator. If there is no creation, there is no creator. You understand the logic? So, to protect the creator, they protect the creation. This is the biggest problem they have. For us, we don't care. So, we say this kasmai, that is this kasmai, there is a Sanskrit usage. That is what ekara lopa. To understand that, you have to understand why do you add a. Oh, you bring in anything. I can add so many characters and claim the scriptural usage. No, there is a logic behind this adding of a. What is that? Sanskrit says kasmai. Kasmai is a word. If it is kaha, who, kasmai, it cannot be kasmai. Kaya. Okay. For fourth case, Ramaya, Hiranyagarbhaya, Devaya, it should be Aya. Fourth case. Now, here he is bringing smai. Smai, smat, smin, etc. are used in the case of pronouns, not the nouns. So, if you are, they are called as Sarvanama Sthana, Sarvanama Shabda. Sarvanama Shabda are group of pronouns. Okay, group of pronouns. Sarva, Katara, Datama, Datara, etc. Okay, so this group of now pronouns will have a different set of suffix. Instead of smart, it will have instead of art, it will have smart. Instead of A, it will have a E, it will have a, or E, A, it will become A, Rame, it will have Smin. Okay. So instead of Aya, it will have a Smai. Kasmai Devaya. Okay. So only a word which is a pronoun can have Smai. And if Kasmai, you are asking, Kah, to whom? Whom are you asking? There is no one to ask except this fellow who is the creator, Hiranyagarbha. To whom? Hey, Hiranyagarbha, to whom? Now the problem is the word ka is not a pronoun. It is not in the group of pronouns. So we have to understand it as a pronoun. So you add the word a. Eka, ekasmai. Eka is a word in the pronouns. One. So here it should be ekasmai devaya, to that one non-dual effulgent self we present this videma, we present this, we offer this oblation material. That is why he says ekara lopena eka devatva pratipadakaha taitrike. By adding the ekara, by leaving the ekara, by letting this ekara, the Taittiriya Upanishad very clearly says that one deity, one self establishes it. Okay, we will see this. Then next he is bringing the Kathopanishad. We will see this. Okay. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamadachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.